أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you very much for coming. I am Tariq Mahmood, most of you will know me, and I'm Vice Chair of Havering Islamic Culture Centre. We are continuing a series of special lectures on prominent and pious people and prophets in the Quran. Today we are covering the story of Prophet Shammil, or Samuel in English, alayhi salam, according to the Quran and Hadiths. The message which runs through Prophet Samuel's story is that of putting trust in Allah. There are many mentions of this in the Quran. Here is an ayah from Surah Talaq, chapter 65, verse 3. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن يتوكل على الله فهو حسبه. The meaning of that is, and whoever puts their trust in Allah, then He alone is sufficient for them. That's from Surah Al-Talaq. Our speaker today is Sister Sidra Naeem. She is a qualified teacher, lecturer and alimah graduating from Al-Huda International. She has additional qualifications in Tajweed from Al-Basira Institute in Whitechapel and completed courses in Arabic language. She has been teaching in mosques, Islamic centers and madrasas since 2003. She has been named as one of the top 100 scholars nationally in the Guardian newspaper. This makes her qualified to speak to us today about today's topic. Sidra appears on the Islam channel regularly, covering many topics related to Islam, and is a guest public speaker at many events. All her public lectures and community services are for free, with no personal gain, and done completely free for dawah and sadaqah jariyah purposes. She has been serving the community since 2001. So that's our speaker. Now let's invite our speaker to the front to give us the talk. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much everybody for coming. These lectures would not continue if it wasn't for your presence. There would be no point in me doing them if we don't get an audience. So it's really, really good that you've all come today. Well done for coming. So Brother Tariq also, who just introduced me, a lot of you do not know this, but he actually started these lectures. So I used to teach in the mosque, children, and these lectures were actually delivered to children, and sometimes the parents would come. Brother Tariq would be teaching upstairs to the boys, including my own son, and he saw me doing these lectures and he said, that's a waste doing it with just children. Why do you not do them with adults as well? So it was actually, he was the first one who actually helped me to start delivering them to adults, believe it or not. A lot of people do not know that. Recently he got an MBE as well, alhamdulillah, and that was really because of all of these things, hosting, introducing, bringing food, everything else that he does. So let's give him a clap as well. He's right up there at the moment with all the dignitaries. So, Prophet Shammil is the next prophet in the series. After Yusha al-Islam, who was the last main prophet we did, there were two more prophets which we already covered, who were Prophet Ilyas and Al-Yasa, okay? And both of those went to a different region. But we are going back to the region of Yusha al-Islam, okay? After 460 years then came Prophet Shammil al-Islam, who is also called Samuel in the Bible. Now, Prophet Shammil is not mentioned by name in the Quran at all, but however his story is there, okay? So something that I have actually learned as well new is I didn't know that story that I read in the Quran actually referred to him, okay? So let us go to that region and go to fast forward 460 years after Yusha al-Islam passed away in the region of Palestine, and let us have a look at what is happening there. There is huge problems. Okay? Ibn Jarir reported that the condition of the Israelites had deteriorated. They had committed many sins, and they were actually killing prophets as well. You will see this as future prophets come. They will kill prophet after prophet. They were divided into tribes. There were 12 tribes of Israel, as you know. They were all fighting amongst each other. Not only that, they were fighting with external people as well. They'd all been divided into groups. They had been defeated. They had been humiliated. And they were disobeying the prophets and Allah. They were not putting their trust in the prophets and what Allah had told them, which is what you spoke about, which is the thread that runs throughout this story. Okay, so I've got a quick video up now to show you the situation of the people before Shammil al-Islam comes along.
Thereafter we have Yusha ibn Nun remained for a while, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took him away as well. Banu Israel remained in that area, but they had a problem. What was the problem? Constant wars, constant fighting. Two types of fighting. Fighting the external enemy and fighting internally. Internally because they were 12 groups. So they considered the children of Binyamin slightly inferior. Why? Because he was a step brother.
Bani Israel start to fight each other. And Bani Israel, from being so organized and united under Yusha alayhi salam to being so unorganized and disunited after the time of Yusha alayhi salam. And after Yusha alayhi salam, prophecy was in one wing, and the leadership and the kingdom was another wing. In other words, there was no one man who was a prophet and a king the way it was at the time of Yusha and Musa. The prophecy was in the descendants of Lawi, or the children of Lawi, the son of Yaqub. And the kingdom, the leadership was in the descendants of Yahuda, the son of Yaqub. And as I mentioned, because Yusha alayhi salam, he was the leader and the prophet at once, he had everything under control. Once Yusha alayhi salam passed away, then Bani Israel were in complete disunity and disorder. For 460 years, 460 years, Bani Israel had been going from worse to worse, from bad to bad. And Bani Israel at the time of Yusha alayhi salam, and especially after opening Jerusalem, they had the upper hand. And Allah Azza wa Jal had given them so much. And Bani Israel start to go from bad to bad, from evil to committing more evil doings. From crime to worse crime. And the commitments to the evilness start to increase among the Bani Israel, from killing to murder to stealing to theft. And they went into wars with many different civilizations and states, and they lost those wars.
Okay, so that was the situation at the time. Now something really important which you may have noticed today is that Parliament is separate from the law, Islamic law or biblical law, religion. Okay? This is a very big problem actually, because that is where the corruption comes in. People who are kings or in charge of the law, their laws are not set according to the religion. And this is why you get the corruption, because people who are in charge of law are there in it for themselves, about land, power and money. Okay? Did you know this country, originally, the laws were set according to Christian laws. So for example, it says in the London dungeons, I don't know if anybody's been in the London dungeons, and it says, there's a plaque on the wall, and it says, if you steal a piece of bread, your hands get chopped off. That's according to the law in the Bible, like Sharia law. Okay, but now crime has increased because it's all about money, saving money, and the laws are not based on the religion. It's the same in our countries. Is it not happening in our countries? There is not a single country actually that is being led by the law of the religion. Not a single country. They have mixed Sharia law in there which suits them, and everything else is all based on what they want. Money, power and land. And this is why we have the problems in all of our Muslim countries at the moment. Okay, so that is actually something very, very interesting to point out, especially in this period of time where we've just had the elections, didn't we, on Thursday? But we can talk about this more in the question and answer section. Right, not only was all this bad going on, the kings were tyrant kings. Why were they tyrant kings?
Because they were corrupt.
They were corrupt, but why? Were they following the law of Islam, if you like?
No.
No, they were doing their own laws. This is what we mean by splitting the Islam with the law. I'm saying Islam because that was Islam, it's right in those days. Okay? So, after Yusha, leaders became weak and tyrant kings appeared. Consequently, Allah sent them a tyrannous king who ill-treated them and spilled their blood and set their enemies from outside against them as well, and depleted the land of its riches as well. All those things that horrible king was doing. The only good thing that they had was a particular ark. This is called the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, this was a very, very important symbol of their history. It was a box, okay, and inside there were important things. Let's have a look what was inside. It had Moses' staff inside, it had his clothes in it, it had the Torah scrolls, and it had tablets of stone inside. And this was, in a way, the only thing they had good in their lives. And what they would do is take it along to battles, okay? And they carried the ark in battle, and they believed that Allah will protect them from their enemies. This belief gave them peace of mind and great courage, and their enemies, did you know, were terrified of it. Their enemies also believed that this ark had given them special powers by Allah. So they used to take this to war with them, and they would believe that they will become victorious with it, and the ark will give them blessings, and it will give them calmness. Because it contained the relics of Moses' people, Moses that had been left behind, and Harun alayhi's family as well. Okay? Now, one day they went for battle, and it was a really big disaster. Can anybody guess what happened at that battle in relation to this? They took it. Okay, so the battle was against giant people from the area of Gaza. This is all relevant to nowadays. And Ascalon is the tribe, and they were really big, giant, strong people. They went to war with them. They were the Philistines. They were the original Philistines that were in the land before Yusha al-Islam had invaded with Bani Israel. Okay? And they killed lots and lots of the Bani Israel, and they took that Ark of the Covenant with them to their own lands. And that was a very, very big, bad thing. These people also drove Bani Israel out of their homes and took away their children as well. And they used their children and sold them as slaves. Okay? This is all in the Quran, isn't it? Okay? So they were all separated and very, very disheartened. This was the last thing bad that happened. So they had absolutely nothing. Okay? When the king, the tyrant king, found out that the ark has been stolen, he instantly had a heart attack and he died on the spot. Because it was a really big trauma to him. Okay? And
So this is called ark or coffin? Because
you can call it coffin, it's called tabooth.
Tabooth is coffin.
Tabooth, coffin, but in English it's called the Ark of the Covenant. Okay? But it's a coffin, it's a chest, if you like.
Yeah.
Okay? Tabooth in Arabic. Yes. And I've showed it as a coffin, actually, like a coffin. And you know the bad people, the Philistines, they took that chest and they put it in front of their god Dagon. Okay? And whenever they put it in front of Dagon, the god Dagon fell down and bowed in front of the coffin. And then they got really scared, and then they lifted up Dagon again, and again Dagon bowed down and fell in front of the coffin. So they got really scared. They thought, you know what, this coffin, it must have some special powers in it, because our God is falling down on it. So the Philistines then moved this coffin from different city to city. And whoever touched it, did you know, their necks had tumors in them. They started getting tumors in their necks. Because that actually was Allah's words in there, wasn't it? The Torah, the original Torah. Okay? So that's the last bad thing that happened. Now I've got another video now to give you another recap on so far. And it's after that, really, that something had to be done to the land.
One of the battles they had is with the Amalek. Amalek is the gigantic people. In that battle, the Amalek destroyed them. They've never had a loss, and a great loss the way they lost in that battle. And one of the things they lost is they had a coffin. That coffin, it has some of the things that's left from the family of Musa and the family of Harun. That coffin, it had the blocks or the tablets, the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the commandments were written and given to Musa alayhi salam. It also mentions that the stick of Musa alayhi salam, that stick that turned to a snake, was also in that coffin. And it also mentions that it had some of the clothes of Musa alayhi salam in that coffin, and other things that belonged to Musa and Harun. That coffin was a blessed coffin to Bani Israel. When Bani Israel used to go into war, and they are fighting the enemy, they used to look at that coffin, and the sakina will come on them, the tranquility will come on them, and the motivation will go into their hearts, and they fight and they win. When they fought against the Amalek, they lost in the battle, and they lost the coffin, and the coffin was taken away from them. So that motivation and enthusiasm they had, they lost it after the battle against the Amalek. And one of the big wars they lost is they lost a war against Bukhta-Nasr. And Bukhta-Nasr slaughtered Bani Israel. He made rivers out of blood of the children of Bani Israel. And Bani Israel, they became so divided, they had no strength, and any civilization strength would attack Bani Israel. So they were so humiliated. And they lived like this for 460 years. Until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had mercy on Bani Israel. From the many mercies that Allah Almighty sent on them, He sent to them a prophet by the name of Shammil.
Okay, so Shammil or Shammil is Samuel. Okay? And he was sent to Bani Israel, okay, 460 years later. It was time for him to come, wasn't it? Because they had nothing. They'd lost their children, they'd all been disfragmented, the land was poor, it had been depleted of all the riches, the tyrant king had died. And that's a very big one. Because the tyrant king had died, there was nobody there left to rule the land. And the children of Israel remained like sheep without a shepherd. That's what is mentioned. And no king was there to rule the land and to even lead the battles. So very easily the whole area could have been invaded, couldn't it have? Okay? So it was time then for everybody then to ask, Prophet Shammil, help us please. And the first thing, what is the first thing they need to ask for, do you think?
King.
A king, good. They need the king first, everything else can come later, can't it? Otherwise the whole land's going to get invaded. Good, well done. So these ayahs are actually in the Quran, where they ask the Prophet's help in appointing a strong leader, a king, under whose banner they can all unite and fight the Philistines and get all their stuff back, the chest that had been lost as well. Okay? And he asked them, when they said to him, we need a king, he said, will you then be ready to fight in battle? They said, yes, we will. And he said, no, I don't think you will. Because in past history, they'd backened out. Do you remember when Yusha, son, entered the land and they chickened out? Okay? So he said, I don't think they will. And they said, no, we will, because we've lost our children and we need to get our children back as well. And we need the chest back as well. Okay? Here's the ayah in the Quran.
ألم تر إلى الملأ من بني إسرائيل من بعد موسى إذ قالوا لنبي لهم ابعث لنا ملكا نقاتل في سبيل الله قال هل عسيتم إن كتب عليكم القتال ألا تقاتلوا قالوا وما لنا ألا نقاتل في سبيل الله وقد أخرجنا من ديارنا وأبنائنا فلما كتب عليهم القتال تولوا إلا قليلا منهم والله عليم بالظالمين.
Have you not seen the chiefs of the children of Israel after Moses when they said to a prophet of theirs, which is Prophet Shammil, appoint for us a king and we will fight in the cause of Allah. He said, are you not going to pull back if ordered to fight? They replied, how could we refuse to fight in the cause of Allah when we have been driven out of our homes and separated from our children? But when they were ordered to fight, they fled, except for a few of them. And Allah is all-knowing of those evildoers. Okay? This bit about them fleeing will be later on, that will come in the story. Okay? So, Prophet Shammil ﷺ prayed to Allah for guidance, and Allah revealed to him that he had chosen somebody called Talut, Saul in English, okay, Talut, to be their king. The Prophet wanted to know how to recognize that future king. And Allah told him that don't worry, Saul will actually come to you himself. And when he comes, you have to hand over the whole kingdom to that person. Okay? And he will then lead the battle against the Philistines. Which tribe was the one they hated? Who was listening to the video? Which tribe is the one that everybody hated, the Bani Israel hated?
Binyamin.
Binyamin tribe. Who said that? Yes, Binyamin tribe was the stepbrother, wasn't he? But so was Yusuf al-Islam.
Yes.
So why didn't they hate his tribe? This is a really interesting question.
Because they say he's stepbrother, because he's Yusuf's brother from his mother and father.
Yes, but there's a question for you. Yusuf al-Islam was the brother of Binyamin. Why did they not hate Yusuf al-Islam's tribe and hate Binyamin's tribe? What was special about Yusuf al-Islam's tribe?
Because
he was a prophet.
He was a prophet. Good. Don't forget, Yusuf al-Islam became a prophet.
Yeah.
So they didn't say anything to his tribes. That was a good thing. But Binyamin's tribe, they didn't like. Okay? Now guess what? Where the king's going to come from? The new person who's going to be appointed to test them. Binyamin's tribe. Okay? So here is the chart I put up of Yaqub al-Islam's family right at the beginning. And here is Yusuf al-Islam and Binyamin. These two were brothers from Rachel. Okay? And this is the tribe they didn't like because he was the stepbrother. Okay? All the others were fine. Especially the ones, this tribe was high and so was Judah. Okay? This is where all the arguments were going on. So, Talut or Saul, it's important you hear both of those words because when I do the quiz, some questions will be based on Talut and some will be based on Saul. It's the same person. Okay? So Saul was a poor person. He used to work on the farm with his father. Okay? And he was a poor person, an ordinary person from the tribe of Binyamin. So one day, Saul lost all his donkeys. Okay? His donkeys strayed off somewhere. And Saul, he was quite tall and sturdy and pious and very, very intelligent. And he lived and worked with his father on the farm, as I said before, and several of his donkeys got lost. So he accompanied his servant and he went in search of his donkeys. They travelled for many, many days and they were very, very tired. And Saul said to his servant, "Let us rather go back, for I am sure that my father will be worried right now about all the other animals that he cares for." And his servant said, "No, you know what? We are in the land of Shammil. Let's go and ask Prophet Shammil where the donkeys are." Okay? And we should try because we're right there. Okay? So they did go to Prophet Shammil, who was giving a big khutbah on a mountain to all his followers, who were very happy he had come because he was going to lead them and help them. They were basically on their knees by this stage. And on the way to Prophet Shammil, they asked directions from some maidens who were carrying water, and they told them to go in the direction of the mountain. Here they saw a vast crowd waiting for Prophet Samuel to give them a lecture. Okay? And as soon as Saul looked at Prophet Shammil, he knew straight away that that is a prophet. Okay? And Saul went over and greeted him respectfully. And straight away, Prophet Shammil looked at him and thought, "That's the one. That's going to be the king." He just knew. You know, sometimes you get these, I don't know if anybody gets these, but I definitely get them where you just know. Okay? And Samuel told him, "Don't worry about your donkeys. Okay? They are already on the way to your father's farm. Do not worry about them." Okay? After the khutbah, he took him to the side and he said that Allah has informed me that you are going to be the king of this land. Allah has chosen you to lead the children of Israel as a king. And your duty is to take charge of all the affairs, unite everybody in one banner, and protect all of them from their enemies. This is Allah's commands, and He has given you victory. Okay? So, what do you think he's going to say?
He said he couldn't do it.
Yeah? Anything else?
Because he was poor.
Pardon?
Because he was poor, because he was a shepherd.
Yes, right. There were lots of reasons. He was poor. He had no experience whatsoever in leading, as in kingship, okay, or even leadership qualities, okay? And he was not of a lineage of kings either. And he said, "But how am I going to do that? Okay, and I'm from the Binyamin tribe, who everybody hates as well. And I have no wealth, I have no property," he said, either. And Samuel alayhi salam, or Shammil alayhi salam, said to him, "Allah has ordained that you are going to be a king. We are not to question that. Put your trust in Allah, and it is a favor from Allah because you are strong in your faith." Okay? So he was a good person. He was religious. So Allah wanted him to lead. Okay? And then the time is now to tell the people. So Shammil gets all the people together and he has to tell them that we've got a king, I've got a king for you. Are they going to like it?
No.
No. So let's have a look at the conversation. Okay?
وقال لهم نبيهم إن الله قد بعث لكم طالوت ملكا قالوا أنى يكون له الملك علينا ونحن أحق بالملك منه ولم يؤت سعة من المال قال إن الله اصطفاه عليكم وزاده بسطة في العلم والجسم والله يؤتي ملكه من يشاء والله واسع عليم.
Their prophet told them, Allah has appointed Talut, Saul, as your king. They protested, how can he be our king when some of us are more deserving of kingship than he, and he hasn't been blessed with vast riches? He replied, Allah's chosen him over you and blessed him with knowledge and stature. Allah grants kingship to whoever he wills, and Allah is all bountiful, all knowing. They said exactly what Saul had said in the beginning. They said he's not rich, he doesn't have any property, he doesn't have any kingship qualities, he's not a descendant of a king, he has no leadership skills. Okay? Now, why is it that in this particular ayah of the Quran, Allah has elevated Saul and said Allah has blessed him with knowledge and stature? Does anybody know why that is? Allah didn't need to write that, but why has he written that in the Quran? Yes.
Is it because they were saying that they have more knowledge and they are bigger in stature than him, so Allah gave him all these things?
Yes, but why? That's very interesting, but why? Let's listen to this question carefully. Has Allah mentioned this in the Quran, which came from Muslims? That he had knowledge and stature and he was wonderful. Why? Think of the books before. What has happened in the books before? What were the books before? What were the books before Quran? Come on everybody, wake up please. What were the books before the Quran came?
The Bible.
The Bible and the Torah. I've got it right here, I've read it. In there, Saul is mentioned as an evil king, as a bad king. So Islam, when Islam came, Allah has corrected the previous books and mentioned he was a man of stature and knowledge. Okay? And very wise as well. That's very important. Right. So, what's going to happen now? They don't like him, they don't accept him. The only way they're going to accept him is if they see a miracle. Okay? What is it that they really, really like and they've lost and was dear to their heart and they're disheartened about?
He brought out the coffin.
Good, the chest, the coffin or the ark. Good. So do you think if Allah brings that back, they're going to believe that's the king? Yes? Okay, so that's exactly what happens. In front of their eyes, Shammil said to them, I'm going to bring, if we bring back the ark, we'll go to so-and-so area outside of this area, in the outside wilderness, and if the ark comes back to you, will you then believe that he is going to be the king? They will say, yes, yes, we will believe. Bring it back, bring it back. Okay? So this is exactly what happens. They go to the outside area, and they insisted on a direct sign from Allah. And when they went to the outside city, they saw 2 angels bringing down the ark. Okay? There's the angels coming down.
وقال لهم نبيهم إن آية ملكه أن يأتيكم التابوت فيه سكينة من ربكم وبقية مما ترك آل موسى وآل هارون تحمله الملائكة إن في ذلك لآية لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين.
And their prophet told them the sign of Saul's kingship is that the chest or ark will come to you containing assurance from your Lord and relics of the family of Moses and the family of Harun al-Islam, which will be carried by the angels. Surely in this is a sign for you if you truly believe. That's in Surah Baqarah. Okay? Chapter 2, verse 248. Very clear in the Quran. That's exactly then. Do you think they're going to believe in him now? Yes. So, Shammil then makes Saul the king of the land. Wonderful news. Okay? And Saul then has got a big mission. The first thing he's going to do is to get his army up and stronger. Okay? Now, whose sunnah do you think he will follow in making the army stronger? Can you remember this happened in a previous story? Which prophet got his army strong?
Sulaiman?
No. Oh, Solomon hasn't come yet. I covered this in a previous story where the prophet made the army stronger to enter Palestine. Who was it? Yusha al-Islam. Do you remember? He gave them specifications. They can't be married and they can't have a house to build and they can't be in business. It's the same sunnah, did you know, all followed. Okay? So he started sorting out his army, started organizing his army with strong faith and wisdom. And he ordered that only men free from responsibilities can join that army. They have to be not engaged in building homes, okay? They should not be married. They should not be occupied with business, okay? And only then can they then join the army. And even then they will be tested en route. They will pass by a river and only they have to refrain from drinking from that river to quench their thirst. And if they do want a bit of water, just a tiny little handful they are allowed. But they are not allowed to quench their full thirst. That is their specification. Okay? And only then can they then join that army. Okay? And everybody said, yeah, we'll do that, we'll do that, we'll do that. 80,000 people joined the army, okay, under those specifications, all unmarried, all not into business, not into money, that kind of stuff, okay? And on the way then to the Palestinian army, they then came across the stream, the River Jordan it was. Okay, and let us have a look at what happens from the 80,000 people who requested do not drink at that river.
فلما فصل طالوت بالجنود قال إن الله مبتليكم بنهر فمن شرب منه فليس مني ومن لم يطعمه فإنه مني إلا من اغترف غرفة بيده فشربوا منه إلا قليلا منهم.
When Saul marched forth with his army, he said, Allah will test you at the river. Whoever drinks from its water will not be my companion, and whoever does not taste it, he is definitely with me. But they all drank of it except for a few. How many do you think a few is?
Yes.
100?
Nearly 300 out of 80,000. Okay? 300 only are the ones who did not drink properly out of that stream. All of them said, Sodiq, we're going to have some. Okay? Now, there is one boy, let's see if you know this answer there, whose dad had made him join the army with two of his brothers. Can anybody tell me who that was? A young boy.
Dawood.
Dawood. Good. Well done, Saj. I'm so happy with you. Now, who is Dawood? Who is he?
Sulaiman's son.
Yeah, Suleiman's father.
Father, yes.
And Dawood is going to be a prophet in the future. Okay? We're going to cover his story next month. But it's important for us to deal with it now because he's involved right at this point. Okay? So Dawood was very brave. He used to guard his dad's sheep. Okay? And he was strong because what he used to do is he used to kill the wolves with his bare hands. He used to kill the wolves and the beasts so that his father's sheep would be protected. Okay? And he was a young man. He was from Bethlehem. Okay? Now, Nasrin, you're a teacher. There's that song, Once in Royal David's City, isn't there, when Jesus comes? Well, you know we're getting closer to Jesus now, because he is from the city of Bethlehem. Okay? And his dad had instructed all of the 3 sons to join the army, but just not fight in the army. They were too young, just to gain skills by watching. Okay? He had strictly forbidden them, you're not to fight in that army. You're too young, you're young boys. It's just for skills. All the 3 brothers had joined. Okay? Right. So, he was one of the good ones. He had not drunk from that river. Okay? And then they crossed the river and, oh my Allah, they were all giants across the river. Big, big giants. And leading the army was a bigger giant called, come on, David and Goliath, Jalut. What's really interesting is Talut and Jalut rhyme. So it was already destined that Talut is going to be fighting against Jalut, if you know what I mean. Haven't you noticed they both rhyme? I find that fascinating. Jalut is Goliath, okay? And when they saw those giant people, they got really, really scared. They go, oh no, we're not doing it. Sorry, bye soul, we're off. Who knows how many people were then left?
40.
Very close, very, very close, 30. Only 30 people left. And out of those were the 3 brothers, Dawood and his 2 brothers. Okay? And they said, no, we can't do it, they're too big, look at the size of them. And look how many there are. They outnumber all of us. Okay? So they all left and left the 30 there. But the 30 left were good people. The small band that remained was willing to fight. And they said it doesn't matter whatever the outcome, Allah is with us. And no matter how small group we are, if Allah is with us, we are going to overcome the big crowd. Okay? And then this part is in the Quran where that conversation takes place, where one crowd says we're not doing it and they run away, and the 30 left say no, it's okay, Allah is with us, and a small crowd can overcome a big crowd with Allah's help. Here is the Quranic ayah.
لما جاوزه هو والذين آمنوا معه قالوا لا طاقة لنا اليوم بجالوت وجنوده قال الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو الله كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة بإذن الله والله مع الصابرين.
When he and the faithful crossed the river, they said, we have no power this day to fight against Goliath and his armies. Those who had firm belief that they will meet Allah said, how often has a small company overcome a big company by Allah's will? And Allah is with those who are patient. Okay? Right. The next bit is that Goliath goes, right, come on then, one person, come forward and come and fight against me. I don't want the whole army, I just want one person. And nobody comes forward. And then Saul, or Talut, the king, goes, whoever comes forward can have my pretty daughter in marriage. Because that's what entices men, doesn't it? That's the only way, really, isn't it, for a man to go forward. So out of those 30, how many went forward? Only one. Only one. Only one. Okay? So let's have a look what happens next. So the 2 armies faced each other. Goliath challenged any soldier for King Saul's army to single combat. He said, I want single combat. And it was actually the custom in those days. All the men looked absolutely terrorized. and no one had the courage to volunteer. And when the king offered the hand of his pretty daughter in marriage to the man who will fight Goliath, then there was silence even then amongst the soldiers. Okay?
فلما برزوا لجالوت وجنوده قالوا ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين.
When they advanced to face Goliath and his warriors, they prayed, "Our Lord, shower us with perseverance. Make our steps firm and give us victory over the disbelieving people." They were very, very scared. But these are the good people that are saying it. Okay? And did you know that Imam Bukhari narrated, we, the companions of the Prophet, were discussing that the number of those who attended the Battle of Badr was the same number of those who participated with Jalut, who crossed the river. Those who crossed it did not exceed more than 300 and a few people. So this is before it got filtered down to 30. It's the same number who entered the Battle of Badr. Okay? And then, did you know, to everyone's surprise, right in front stepped Dawood al-Islam. He said, "I'll do it." And when they saw how small he was, and did you know he had blue eyes as well, which was actually a sign of weakness. Because melanin is big, strong genes, and in those days everybody had brown eyes there, so they thought, "Him, that little thing, that boy, he's going to fight that big giant." What do you think they did? They laughed. They laughed and they laughed and they laughed. And even Saul's men shook their heads. They thought, "What's that? What's going on there?" Okay? And so he was actually impressed by the youth's courage, but he said to him, pulled him to the side, and he said, "I admire your courage, but you are no match for that mighty warrior." He said, "Let the strong men go forward, Dawood. You stay behind." Dawood said, "No, I'm going to meet that challenge." He said, "Just this morning I killed a lion who was trying to kill my father's sheep. And on another occasion, I've killed a bear with my hands before. I want to do it. Let me go forward." So Saul said to him, "Okay then, put all of these armor on," handed him a sword, put all armor on him, lots of metal, helmet, shield to go here, shield to go there, and a sword. And he said, "Go and then you go forward." What do you think Dawood al-Islam said about all of those shields and things?
He didn't need them.
He didn't need them. I go, "I don't need them." He said, "I can't walk. I feel obstructed with all this." So he took them all off. Okay? He goes, "Don't worry, I'm going to go single-handed." And he removed all his armor off. Okay? And then he collected a few pebbles, filled his leather pouch with them, and he slung it over his shoulder next to his sling, and with a wooden staff in his hand, he began to walk towards his enemy Goliath. Saul was very, very worried and asked him, "How on earth are you going to kill Goliath with a couple of stones? He is going to come and he is going to kill you." David replied, "Allah, who protected me from the claws of the bear and the fangs of the lion, he will protect me from this brute." And when Goliath set eyes on the young man, he looked up at the boy and he started laughing and loudly roaring. "Are you out to play war with one of your playmates, or are you tired of your life? I'm going to simply cut off your head with one swipe of my sword, and that's going to be the end of you." And you know what he said? "My armor and shield and sword is the name of Allah, the Lord of the Israelites." Okay? And he came forward and he took one stone out of his pouch, and just with one stone, he smacked him one in the head and blood came out of his head. Okay? So that is him swinging it. He said, today you will see that it is not the sword that kills, but the will and power of Allah. And with that, just one pebble, he swelled it with his sling. It was actually, what is that called again, Ijaz? That
Catapult?
no.
Slingshot.
Slingshot. Is it a slingshot? A slingshot he killed him with. Okay? With such great force that blood gushed out of his head, and when something hits there, you get a concussion, and he fell down. Boom. There was a very big thump on the floor. Lifeless. Okay? Before he could even draw his sword. And the rest of the men, they looked up and they cheered and cheered and cheered. And they could not believe that that great big man, Goliath, had been killed. Okay? And it was absolutely amazing, and they all cheered. And did you know, it says in the Quran that Dawood alayhi salam became a hero overnight, a bit like Brother Tariq, when he got his MBE, hero overnight, all of a sudden. Okay, here we go.
فهزموهم بإذن الله وقتل داود جالوت وآتاه الله الملك والحكمة وعلمه مما يشاء ولولا دفع الله الناس بعضهم ببعض لفسدت الأرض ولكن الله ذو فضل على العالمين.
So they defeated them by Allah's will, and Dawood alayhi salam killed Goliath or Jalut, and Allah blessed Dawood with kingship and wisdom and taught him what he willed. Had Allah not repelled a group of people by the might of another, corruption would have dominated the earth. But Allah is gracious to all. So we will talk about Dawood alayhi salam next time in detail, because Allah does make him a prophet. He does become king of the land, and he does get married to Michal, who is the daughter of the king's soul. Okay? All of that story is in the story of the prophets by Ibn Kathir, and the translation of the Quran as well. And I have also researched the story from the Torah as well, which is here if you want to have a look. But obviously we only go by the Quran and Hadiths only. Okay? But just to show you that I do know what I'm talking about. That's my YouTube channel. If there's new people here today, if you want to subscribe, there's lots of prophet stories on there if you want to catch up on the old ones. And I do have a QR code now as well, so I've done that. Okay? Right, I am now going to do a poem to summarize before you do a quiz with prizes. Okay? So here is my poem. Listen if you want some hints on the quiz. And you can all join in on the rhyming words. Okay, here we go. After Prophet Musa alayhi salam died, the Israelites sinned and went astray. So Allah sent Prophet Shammil to teach them the right way. Good. The Israelites had lost the Torah and Tabut box because of their sin. The Tabut kept Musa alayhi salam's tablets and rods. They used it in battles to win. Good. They asked Shammil for a brave king to lead them to victory again. Allah chose humble Talut as a king. The Israelites began to complain. Good. The Israelites joked Talut was not royal, but soon shut up in awe when they saw angels deliver the Tabut to their new king's door. Talut made an army and told them not to drink from a river as a test. From 80,000, only about 300 obeyed his request. The few soldiers left worried about facing giant Jalut's army until patient believers inspired a few can defeat many by Allah's will. Good will. King Talut made his army pray for patience, strength and courage. He urged whoever killed Jalut would take his daughter in marriage. The brave army went forward asking Allah to make firm their fight. Even though Jalut's army was huge, they didn't run away in fright. When the armies met, the giant dared anybody to fight him at all. Dawood from Bethlehem bravely stepped forth to meet Jalut's call. Dawood al-Islam was a humble shepherd and guarded sheep from beasts. He was pious and brave and never ran from enemies in the least. Good. Jalut roared in laughter seeing young Dawood with just a slingshot. With Allah's help, his stone whacked the giant, killing him on the spot. Jalut's army saw him drop dead in dust and all ran away in fright. The Israelites destroyed them and Dawood was a hero overnight. Excellent. Right. Time for a quiz now, which everyone looks forward to. This is the logo you need to look for. If you can Google Kahoot and you go on it and then you type in your PIN. And there are prizes for this. Okay, here's the PIN coming up now. With this quiz, it's not just the right answer, it's how quickly are you going to answer the question. Promptness makes points. What do points make? Prizes. Promptness makes points. What do points make? Prizes. There's a prize for all of you. Well, the top three anyway. So you will see questions on here, but you have to answer them according to the color on your phones. The first few questions are very difficult and they're double points. Right. If you're shouting out of answers, okay, others you will be disqualified. And it's all done electronically. The computer works out who's the fastest. Okay? On here you will see the questions. I will say them out. And on your phone you won't see the questions. You will just see the color which you have to press as quickly as possible. Okay? There are some very hard questions, but there are some easy ones later on towards the end as well. Okay? So the beginning ones are more important. You know why? Because they're double points. Here we go. Prophet Shammil. Double points. After Yusha al-Islam passed away, what was the state of the children of Israel? Which one is false? Divided into tribes and groups, defeated, humiliated, disobeyed prophets and Allah, constantly fighting the 12 tribes within and fighting the external enemies. Prophecy and leadership was separate, they lost wars, unorganized and disunited, crime, killing, murder, theft, idol worship. Which one of those is the false one and all the other three are correct? Okay, the answer is this one. What is the false one in this line? Does anybody know? Idol worship. I did mention no idol worshipping. They were Bani Israel, so they were worshipping Allah. Okay? It's the other stuff they were doing wrong. Okay? Did you all get that right? Well, you couldn't have done. Only 5 did. Let's have a look. Who's the top? Ijaz again, oh no. By the way, this is no cheating. He's always elsewhere when I make the quiz. He is nowhere near the quiz, just in case you're wondering. Okay? Noman, you're doing well today. You're second, and Razina, you're third. Okay? Right, let's carry on. And the next one is double points too. Very important you get the double points correct. What did the tyrant king do? Which one is false? He ill-treated them and spilled their blood. He depleted the land of its riches. He set their enemies from outside against them. He forced them to worship idols. Which one is false? It's 7. I already mentioned about the worshipping idols, didn't I? Okay. So the tyrant king didn't tell them to worship idols. He was actually, worshipping one God. It's all the other bad things. So look. Okay, Rosina, you have moved up, and Vasila, you're third. Okay? Right. It's just the top 3 we're focusing on. Double points again. What did the Ark of the Covenant contain? Which one is false? Moses' staff and his clothes, the Torah scrolls and tablets of stone, gold, relics of the family of Moses and family of Harun. It was gold. 10 people got that right. Well done. It didn't contain gold, however, it was made out of gold. Okay? Khadija, you've moved up to number 3. Well done. Good. True or false? Double points. Why did Bani Israel take the Ark of the Covenant with them to battle? All of these. They believed Allah would protect them from their enemies. This belief gave them peace of mind and great courage. Their enemies were terrified by it. Their enemies believed that it was given special power by Allah. They did this so that they would be victorious by its blessings. It became a symbol of calm. So all of those have to be true for you to say true. And even one can be false for it to be false. Okay? Khadija, you're number 2 now. You're neck and neck with your dad. Competition, father and daughter. Right, next. What happened to the tyrant king when he found out the ark had been stolen? He was very upset, he got depressed, he died on the spot with a heart attack, he repented and became good. He died on the spot with a heart attack. That is the answer. I think quite a lot would have got that right. It's quite an easy question, that one. Okay, the board remains unchanged. Next. We're halfway through. How many years after Prophet Yusha did Prophet Shammil arrive? 450, 460, 470, 480. Easy. Came up twice actually in the lecture. It was 460. Good. Okay, still the top 5 are still unchanged, the same. Next. What was the first thing Bani Israel told Prophet Samuel to do? Bring the Ark of the Covenant back, appoint a king for them, fight against the Philistines, start winning the wars. What was the first thing they told him to do? It was appoint a king for them. Good, quite a lot got that right, well done. Okay, Usman, I think you're in the top 5, mashallah. Let's give him a clap. He's one of the youngest boys here, so we do need to appreciate him. Well done, Usman. You've got arrow up your name as well. Right, ready? Double points, get alert everyone. Why did Bani Israel reject Talut as a king? Which one is false? He did not know anything of leadership or kingship. He had no property or wealth. He was from the tribe of Binyamin. He had no place to live in. Which one is false? Why did they reject Saul? They didn't want him as a king. It was, he had no place to live in. That's not true. He had his dad's farm to live in. Okay? So all the others was actually correct. He had no property or wealth, he was from that tribe they didn't like, and he had no experience of leadership or kingship. It's like making a head teacher when they haven't got the experience. But Allah said, no, that's the right person. Mikhail, you're in the top 5. I think it's a competition between Mikhail and Usman here, isn't there now? From the 2 youngest boys. Okay. How did Bani Israel accept Talut as their king? When the lost ark came to them via 2 angels, when they lost a few more wars, they were afflicted by tumors in their necks, the land was depleted of its riches. How did they accept Talut as their king? Someone's taken a long time. It was when the lost ark came to them via 2 angels. Okay? Unchanged scoreboard. The tension rises. Ready? True or false? Double points. How did Saul set about organizing his army with strong faith and wisdom? He ordered that only men free from responsibilities should join. Those engaged in building homes should not join. Men who are about to be married should not join. Those occupied with business should not join. He told them that along the route they would pass a river where they should drink enough water to quench their thirst, but not more than that. Is that true or is it false? Oh, it was actually true. It was actually true. So all of that was actually true. They could quench their thirst by 1 little handful, but not more than that, if that's the bit that made you go. Fasila! Ooh, the scoreboard changes. The only problem with Fasila winning is it's all her prizes she's given me to give out, which are going to have to go back to her. Mind you, I have got one thing actually, which is not your prize.
This is going to change.
No, actually, there is one prize that I can give you, which you haven't given. Right, ready, everybody? We're nearly at the end. How many of Saul's men actually faced Goliath, ready to fight in the end? 80,000, 30, 300, or 460? It was 30. Some of you are listening really carefully there. Okay, so Scylla's still at the top. Rosina, you're second. Ijaz is third. Okay, ready?
Next one.
12th question. What did the king offer the men in exchange for killing Jalut? Riches, kingship, his pretty daughter's hand in marriage, or a palace? Oh, that was quick, everybody. You got that one quickly. It was his daughter's hand in marriage. Unchanged scoreboard. Okay? Right, we are going on to the last question. Fasila has a streak with 12 correct answers in a row. Well done. That's amazing. I am amazed. Right, last question, everyone. This could be the one that makes you or breaks you. How did David kill Goliath? Bow and arrow, shotgun, dagger, slingshot. It was slingshot. I don't know who did the bow and arrow. Right, are we ready, everybody? Who's the winner? Let's have a drum roll. There is Mikhail. Oh my God, how did that happen? Rosina, oh my God. That is Priscilla. Right, okay, let us do, we do the number one first, don't we? So let's have Fasila first, who was the winner. Come to the front, Priscilla. Well done. You did very well. Some of those questions were very hard. Well, I got them all right. Yes, did you? Oh wow, no wonder you won. There's your #1 medal and there's a bracelet for you. And it matches your ring. Let's sit over with you. Over there. Over there. Brilliant. Let's give another clap. Okay, our second winner is Rosina. What's interesting is they're both from the same family, which is interesting, the two last winners. That's your one. Well done. Congratulations. Should we have a photo? Them two must have been in competition together, those two. And Mikhail next. Well done. Let's give him a big clap. I always think it's really interesting when children win. Well done, Mikhail. Well done. We should have had a photo with him earlier with his arm. That would have been nice. With their jars. Right. Okay, everybody, we are now going to do quick morals. One of them, Brother Tariq will tell us, because he already covered it. Okay, so let's look at the meaning, message and moral of the story. Okay, what is the moral, Brother Tariq? You had it in your speech, didn't you?
Trust in Allah.
Trust in Allah. So, okay, trust in Allah, because nobody trusted Allah that He had chosen the king to be Talut. They thought, how can he be king when he's not, rich and he's not from the king's lineage and things like that? So this is all about trust, isn't it?
Yeah.
This story. Okay? The other one is hypocrites. Who were the hypocrites? The soldiers. They said, yeah, we will fight. But when it came to the tests, they didn't really pass the tests. Out of 80,000, only 30 people. And then, in the end, there was only one left, who was Dawood al-Islam. Really, it was only one, wasn't it, who went forward? Okay? So the sign of a hypocrite, whenever he speaks, he lies. If someone trusts him, he is dishonest. And whenever he makes a promise, he breaks his promise. That is the filter for knowing who is a hypocrite. Okay? Are there any more morals that you can think of for this story before we go into Q&A?
Yeah, if you believe in Allah, victory will help you, and you have the patience, Allah will grant you the victory.
Yes.
No matter how little number you are.
Yes, good. That's a very good one. If we look at the Battle of Badr,
Yes.
Okay.
313 in
yes,
front of thousands of.
there were thousands and thousands of
Yes.
the Quraysh, and there was only a small number of
Yes.
Prophet Muhammad's army,
Yeah.
and the angels came to help them,
To help them.
or appeared to the other party.
Because they were patient and they were believe in
Yes,
what they are doing.
and they won the battle.
Yeah.
Yes? So it's the same thing here, isn't it?
Yes,
The
exactly.
same thing here, really, that happened. In fact, the Battle of Badr is actually equated to this by Prophet
Yes.
Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the Hadith Imam Bukhari that I quoted earlier. Okay, any more morals before we go into Q&A? Yes?
Those who go against Allah, don't believe in Him, basically, are the worshippers. They're always going to get, they're going to cop it, basically going to get defeated.
Yes, in the end, yes, correct, yes. So the Philistines in this case were idol worshippers. They were worshipping the god Dagon, and in the end Allah ruined them all. Okay? Yes, Rosina.
Is it to not be arrogant because Goliath was so arrogant that he thought he could kill David with just a
So, yes, yes. And also not to judge people. Be non-judgmental. You don't know what they're like. You don't know the qualities people will have. And it was in two cases in this story. One with Talut. They were judging him without even knowing him. And the other one was Dawood. They just looked at his height and his petiteness, but they didn't look at, well, maybe he is strong inside, which he was. Which you'll find out later on in the next lecture. He's so strong, he bends iron. He bends it.
Yes.
Yeah? So that's going to come up. Okay, any more morals? Let's go to questions now. Let's have questions. Yes, Brother Mark.
Can I ask two things? Is that possible?
One at a time, please, because then we've got others as well.
Why did it take 260 years for Prophet Shammil to arrive? Why does it always go? Say, for example, like, was it 600 years? Say after 600 years, Prophet Muhammad came, and after 260 years after Prophet Shammil came. Why does Allah?
Okay, first of all, two prophets did come in between. Prophet Ilyas and Prophet Ilyasa came. We talked about them last time. And we know Prophet Hizkil, we also mentioned, came after Yusha al-Islam as well, didn't we? So 3 prophets had come. But Allah only sends the next prophet when it's needed, when people have totally strayed off the path completely. That's when Allah then sends the next prophet. Especially in that region, they'd reached that point where they needed somebody, didn't they? They'd lost everything. So it's up to Allah when He sends, but usually it's when a prophet is needed to put everyone back on the right path. Okay? Yes, so.
I just want to have a comment about that. This is the question. Allah sent 124,000 prophets.
He did.
But He mentioned only 25 of them.
That's right.
So probably there may be so many prophets who are sent, but
Yes.
Allah didn't mention them.
Yes, correct. So we don't know. There was actually 124,000, yes. So these are only the ones mentioned in the Quran.
Only 25 were mentioned in the Quran.
In the Quran, exactly.
Because they changed the course of the history. Those are 25,000.
Yes.
Probably Allah mentioned
Yes.
them in the Quran.
That's right, that's right. So
But
there
Allah
could have
keeps
been
sending
more.
the prophets, keep sending the prophets.
He
Until
did.
Prophet Muhammad, then he stopped.
That's the last prophet, yes, that's right. Okay, anybody else? Yes?
There's a mention of the ark,
Yes.
and once or twice in the past I have been in a synagogue, and they say they got the ark, and the ark we talked about in lecture had Moses' relics and tablets, and what do they have in it? Is it a symbolic, or why do they have it?
Yeah, so first of all, they don't have the original ark, but they mimic it. What they will have in it is the Torah. Okay? They will have the Torah in it, the Torah scrolls. But they will definitely not have the tablets of stone, because did you know that even in the days when Musa al-Islam came down the mountain and he saw them worshipping the golden calf, he threw the tablets of stone. Even then they were broken. Okay? And it was only by mouth then the message went forward to everybody. So we know they have definitely not got the original tablets of stone, and they definitely have not got the original Torah, because Allah sent the Quran when all the previous books, there's no sign of them, completely corrupted and gone. We don't even have the original Bible anymore. It's gone. Okay? That is when Allah sent the Quran. And the Quran, alhamdulillah, is completely intact and not changed since it was revealed. That's the only book in the world that has not been changed
By Allah.
with the word of Allah in there, each and every word and letter. Okay? Right, now I'll go to you.
Okay. I mean, the thing is, the message has been coming across that Prophet, as you said in all the lectures, each Prophet sent to his own generation. Okay? The message keeps on, saying the same thing. Okay?
Yes.
Am I correct in saying basically that in each generation, basically during the time of Prophet Saul, they all believed in Allah, okay? But the disbelievers who didn't believe in Allah, okay? Are they the ones who are losers? They are the ones basically, who are going to get punished.
Yeah. Okay, they did believe in Allah, but they didn't trust Him and they didn't listen to His commands, which is different. Okay? So there's people here who may believe in Allah, but they don't listen to His commands, which is different, isn't it?
So
Okay?
he must
So
be-
all these people, before Shammil alayhi salam came along, they were not listening to what Allah was saying. Allah has not said, argue amongst all the tribes. Allah has said your father is all one, you know, the same ancestry, for example. They were all arguing with each other. They were after materialistic things, you know, riches and goods and land and property and things like that. Okay? And they didn't trust Allah. So when Allah said Saul is going to be your king, they didn't want him, just because he wasn't rich. Yes? So it doesn't mean they didn't believe in Allah. It means they didn't trust Him or listen to the commands of Allah. Okay? Right. There was somebody at the back. Yes?
Why did Allah not want the soldiers to bring it from the river?
Because He was making them stronger and it was a test. Okay? It's resilience, isn't it? Can you keep yourself away from drinking water? It's like fasting. What does fasting do? It helps to build self-restraint. Yes, it's in the Quran. Yeah, fast so that you may build self-restraint. Yes, and when Prophet Shammil said, "Don't drink from the water," it builds self-restraint, makes you stronger mentally as well. So you're ready to fight them. But they were little weaklings. They were little weedlings. Because they drank from the water and they ran away when they saw Jalut as well, didn't they? Yes? Okay.
The story of David and Goliath, I seem to remember seeing images of Goliath being pinned to the ground with strings around him. Is that not the story?
No. According to Islam, it's very clearly written how he was killed.
With one slingshot?
Yes, that's correct. It's in the Quran, like you heard in the ayah, and every other imagery or anything else you hear, we must not take that, because that's in the other scriptures which have been changed over time. Quran is the only book that hasn't been changed. Okay? You heard the true story today. I will be repeating some of the David and Goliath story next time, because we're doing the Dawood alayhi salam story. Okay? So I think we're going to stop now, and Brother Tariq's just going to finish off.
Assalamu alaikum once again. Just to finish off, I'd like to say the lecture was very enjoyable. Even though I didn't win a prize, I still enjoyed it a lot.
But he's got a prize for me.
Yes, the audience was very attentive. The speaker made it so much fun that on behalf of all the audience, we'd like to present the speaker a prize for all the hard work she does.
Thank you very much. This is a very special prize because it's actually from that table over there, and the money is going towards Feed the Needy, which is my own organisation where we feed the homeless every week. So that money is not going to go to waste, it's going towards the homeless. Okay?
And the next lecture is on Prophet Dawood alayhi salam on Saturday the 3rd of August at 2:30. So see you there and more people, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
If you can pop it in your diaries now, the whole reason why we put it beforehand, we tell you the date, is straight away you should put it in your diaries.
The whole thing. So
Okay.
Emirates was the whole thing. So
Okay.
Emirates was giving a really good deal with stuff over in Dubai. So that's what I'm doing.